Valorant has got a clone, and I'm not talking about a couple of university kids making a crappy knockoff. This game is made by a major company, and when you compare it to Valorant, it looks like one of the biggest rip-offs we've seen in years. Agents, weapons, abilities, maps, they've taken it all. We're going to take a look at it now and then answer the question that is on everybody's lips: why the hell haven't they been sued off the face of the planet? Alright, so later on in the video, I'm going to be talking about how, even though this story is insane, it does happen more than you expect. When it undoubtedly happens again, you're going to need to make sure you are subscribed to theScore Esports, and that way you'll never miss out on game cloning news ever again. Easy. So at the start of August, a video started being shared that was advertising the closed beta test for a new mobile game, Project M. Before we get into how exactly Riot has had their homework copied here, I think it's probably best if you just watch a clip from this video, to see if you notice anything familiar. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's almost laughable. And the comment section didn't exactly get the warm reception that Project M was hoping for. People were quick to point out the recognizable abilities, guns, and kill effects they knew and loved from Riot's latest FPS smash hit, Valorant. And by now, some of you may be wondering where you've heard the name Project M before. Well, that was the name of a popular Super Smash Bros. Mod released in 2013 that attempted to make Smash Bros. Brawl more like Smash Bros. Melee by making the gameplay faster and more technical. So this Valorant ripoff doesn't even have an original name. In fact, some of you may remember that when Valorant was in development, it was codenamed Project A. Okay, so let's take a deeper look at the game itself then. As you can see, the whole interface is almost identical, from the player icons at the top of the kill feed to the display at the bottom. Even the mini-map looks the same. The weapons loadout looks exactly the same too. We see guns that look identical to the Shorty, the Classic, the Frenzy, and the Phantom, to name but a few. All they seem to have done is give the guns slightly different names to the Valorant originals, which is weird. It's like copying your mate's homework at school and thinking you'll get away with it because you cross your T's slightly differently.
Otherwise, it's like the exact same thing.
Moving on to the characters now. They're basically all like weird siblings of the Valorant agents you've come to love. Meet Elixir, for example. Elixir is basically Sage. She can heal her allies just like Sage, and yes, her ult resurrects allies. In fact, the only thing that's different from Sage is her camouflage ability, which is basically just a combo of jet smoke with the shape of Cypher's trap. If you're a Reyna main, well, let me introduce you to Blood Raider. His blind works exactly the same way as Reyna's, and his hardened shell ability is like Reyna's Dismiss, granting brief invincibility. And of course, the ultimate is Reyna's ultimate, giving a frenzy boost to Blood Raider's firing, equip, and reload speeds. The list just goes on. This video could honestly just be me sitting here going through every character and comparing their abilities to Valorant, but we'd honestly be here all day.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
So I think it's safe to say we've established this as being as close to a clone as you can possibly get. Now I know some of you might be sitting there saying, oh, but hang on, isn't Valorant a clone of CSGO? Haha. Well, come on. Let's be reasonable here. Valorant may have taken 13 rounds of tactical shooting and bomb defusal from CSGO, but it's done more than enough to call itself a distinct game. The same can be said with League of Legends and Dota. There's inspiration, and then there's just straight up duplication. Project M seems to look like the latter. Okay, so let's tackle the next question. You're probably thinking, how the f*** are they getting away with this? Well, this isn't the first time that the game's creators, Chinese company NetEase, have done something like this. Take a look at one of their other games, for example, Creative Destruction, and just tell me what this reminds you of. That's right, apart from the fact it says you are the star at the end of the game instead of Victory Royale, it's literally just Fortnite. Another good example here is Area F2, the game that was accused of being a Rainbow Six Siege clone. In May 2020, we covered the story of Ubisoft suing Apple and Google for their release of Area F2, a game which Ubisoft said was a copy of Siege. Well, a few days after they sued, Apple and Google took the game down, but that's not where the story ends. In August 2020, it was announced that F2 will be making a return under a new publisher, NetEase, the same company behind Project M. Yeah. So this all comes down to intellectual property law in China. Basically, it's a lot more lax than what most Western countries are used to. Essentially, Chinese copyright law does allow companies to copyright individual assets of their work, but not the fixed form of the work as a whole. What this means is that as long as the assets in the game are reskinned or modified a little bit here and there, it's basically safe under Chinese law. Perhaps one of the most bizarre examples of this came in 2014 when a Chinese company called 300 Heroes not only ripped off League of Legends, it also straight up threw Shrek in there as a playable character. Because if you're going to copy other people's work, yeah, just throw Shrek in there as well. On top of all this, there really isn't much written into Chinese law that allows companies to fight intellectual property theft within the Chinese legal system. While there have been some changes that improve a company's ability to do this, it's clearly not enough because, as you can see, we've got games like Project M coming out. For companies based outside of China, it's essentially a game of whack-a-mole. Sure, they might be able to take down one game through the legal system, but it's only a matter of time before another one pops right back up. Project M is a Riot game. Riot's parent company is Tencent. Tencent is the #1 gaming company in China, and NetEase is #2. Although Tencent will undoubtedly be pissed off with their main rival creating Project M, they've also been accused of cloning games themselves. Their WeChat game, titled Tiao Yi Tiao, was accused of being a clone of a French mobile game called Bottle Flip. The point is, this type of stuff is rampant in China. Companies clone games and then have their own games cloned. It's a bit of a mess. Even though Tencent are the ultimate owners of Valorant, they know as well as anyone how difficult it is to stop this kind of stuff happening in China. As of yet, we've heard nothing from Riot or Tencent on the matter, but that may change in the not too distant future because they have something very big coming up, Valorant Mobile. It was announced on June 2nd, 2021, on the anniversary of Valorant's launch the year before. There's currently not too much information about the game or its release date, but whenever it comes out, NetEase got their Project M clone out first. And Tencent won't be happy about that. Will they actually do anything about it though? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe one day NetEase will even clone Sentinels, Tens, Hiko, the lot of them. And that would be a story to cover. What would I do if I had a clone? If I had a clone, I would probably just divide up the tasks that we had to do. I'd probably do some music with them, you know? I think it would be good. Our voices would go together really well because they're the same voices. And I play guitar and I'd make him play something weird like trombone.